Hi, my name is Mark. I'm 41 years old. I work in general contracting. I build houses. I deal with blueprints, load-bearing walls, and concrete. In my world, if something happens, there's a physical reason for it. If a roof leaks, it's a bad shingle. If a light flickers, it's a loose wire. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't believe in signs from the universe. At least, I didn't until last October. I lost my mom 3 months ago. It was a massive heart attack. Suddenly she was gone before the ambulance even got to the driveway. She was 56 years old. And yes, you heard that right. I'm 41 years old. She was 56. You can do the math. She had me when she was 15. You have to understand what that meant back in 1983. We didn't have Teen Mom reality shows. In her neighborhood, being pregnant at 15 was a disgrace. Her parents wanted to hide her away. The school wanted to kick her out. But my mom, she was already such a strong woman. Her name was Gloria, and Gloria didn't hide from anyone. Of course, she kept me. She dropped out of high school, got a job waiting tables at a diner, and she raised me. We grew up together. We were more like siblings than mother and son. It was us against the world. She dragged us out of poverty by her fingernails. She went from waitress to line cook to running her own kitchen. She was the toughest person I have ever met, and she had a look. Since the 80s, she wore these massive, thick, square glasses. You know, the kind, oversized, tinted, distinct, tortoiseshell frames. She needed them to see, but they became her shield. She wore them like armor when she was yelling orders in the kitchen, or when she was yelling at me to do my homework. She was wearing those glasses. When she died, I didn't just lose a mom. I lost the only teammate I ever had. I handled the funeral like a job site. I organized the flowers. I paid the bills. I shook the hands. I didn't shed a tear. I just kept moving. I thought if I stopped moving, I would collapse. 3 months later, I hit a wall. I was snapping at my crew. I wasn't sleeping. So I threw my gear in the truck, drove up to the Catskill Mountains. I needed to go camping. I needed to be somewhere where my phone didn't work. I found a dispersed site way off the main road. Just dirt, pine trees, and silence. The second night out there, the silence finally broke me. I was sitting by the fire, drinking a beer, staring into the coals, and it just hit me. She was really gone. I was 41 years old, sitting in the dirt, sobbing like a kid. I started talking to her, out loud. I said, "Gloria, you fought for 40 years. You survived everything. You raised a kid when you were a kid yourself. And this is how you go out. It's not fair." I was angry. I looked up at the trees and I yelled it. I said, "I need to know you're okay. I need a sign, Mom. Give me something. Anything. Because I'm drowning down here." I sat there for an hour, waiting. I don't know what I expected. Distant lightnings. Or a ghost. Nothing happened. Just the wind and the crickets. I went to sleep feeling stupid. The next morning, I woke up with a headache. I packed up camp. I just wanted to get home. Before I left, I decided to walk down this narrow game trail near my site. It wasn't a hiking path, just a deer track through the thick brush. I was walking with my head down, kicking at roots, just trying to clear my head before the drive. Then I saw a glint in the dirt. Something plastic was sticking out of the dead leaves. I stopped. I crouched down and brushed the dirt away. It was a pair of glasses. My stomach dropped. They were dirty, covered in mud, but they were in one piece. I picked them up. They were huge, square, thick plastic, tortoiseshell pattern. They weren't modern glasses. They were vintage. They looked exactly, and I mean exactly like the frames Gloria wore in the 80s when I was a toddler. The ones she wore in every single childhood photo I have. My hands started shaking. I wiped the mud off the inside of the left arm. You know how designer frames have the brand name stamped in tiny gold letters? I squinted to read it. Gloria. I stopped breathing. I'm not lying to you. The brand of the glasses was Gloria. I stood there in the middle of nowhere, miles from civilization, holding a pair of glasses that looked exactly like my mother's, found on a random deer trail the morning after I begged her for a sign, and her name was stamped on them. Now, look, I'm a contractor. I live in the real world. I know Gloria Vanderbilt was a big brand back in the day. I know people lose glasses in the woods. But what are the odds? What are the odds that her son, the kid she had at 15, would walk past that specific spot at that specific second and look down? I sat on a fallen log and cried for 20 minutes. It was the first time since the funeral that I actually let it go. I kept them. They are sitting on the dashboard of my truck right now. I don't know how they got there. Maybe a hiker dropped them 20 years ago. Maybe it's just a 1 in a billion coincidence. But I know my mom. She was loud. She was stubborn. She never let me ignore her. Finding those glasses, it didn't feel like luck. It felt like she was saying, I heard you, kid. I'm right here. Now get up and go to work.